Welcome to the family with
Doug Sprinthal,
Tiffany Norton,
our special guest,
and Andy Bernard.
Another special guest. No, he's not a special guest.
He's not special.
He's a special family member. That's what it is.
And don't forget Daisy.
And Daisy's here. That's right.
Daisy's in the corner.
How's Daisy? Well, Daisy and Jude get along really well, don't they?
They do.
Daisy's kind of mellowed out since the last time we saw
Daisy
each
used
other.
to be pretty wound up. That is true.
Probably worn out from chasing around little kids.
Well, yeah, that doesn't help.
All right. I got to run two stories by you because I don't really understand either one of them, and I really don't really understand.
Do you think we're going to be able to help somehow?
Well, Tiffany was just talking about Gen Z and some other generation, Gen X, Gen Z, and all that stuff. And I cannot believe the difference between somebody my age, I'll be 73 in a couple of weeks, and somebody who's like 35. It's like we grew up in a different country. And I suppose we did.
I mean,
really
yeah,
did.
in a lot of ways.
A lot of ways we did.
A lot of very important ways, like no draft.
Yeah,
the
that's
draft.
true. There was no draft.
The draft defined like 3 generations of men. And then all of a sudden it's gone and it's like you don't have anything in common. I've been watching a lot of old cartoons with Ethan, like anything from 1930 to like, probably the 60s or 70s.
Right.
And almost every single one of them has some sort of allusion to war in it.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
It's always, it's played for laughs, but they're like, some march or, like a bird will make the sound of one of those, like, the Jericho trumpets or whatever. Those, the German planes. You know that sound I'm talking about.
Oh, the dive bomb, the Stuka dive bomb.
Exactly. Every single cartoon or show has something like that in it because almost every man, I mean, I don't know about almost every, maybe probably at least a third of men, like adult men in the country experienced that at one time. So they were all like, this is our shared experience. You write what you know.
I was in that weird window as a young man where I didn't even have to register.
Oh, you didn't?
Right? When Vietnam was over, I think the country was so tired of war. They're like, we're not going to even have people register.
I remember
that was one of the last things Carter did, and a lot of people were pissed at him for it. And it's like, we got to bring back at least registration.
Yeah, I remember having to do selective service and being like, this is a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
What am I going to do at war?
I'm not
going to be helpful.
That was number 27 in the draft, so there you have it. But I never went because I had a double hernia from lifting weights. So I didn't have to go to Vietnam. My brother went twice though, so maybe he kind of paid my my fare for that one.
I do remember sitting around at the what were they? It was like a bingo calling thing actually, where they had the numbers in the cage. And I remember sitting around with some high school seniors or people who were right out of high school and not going to college. Boy, was that! I mean, it's like holy shit.
Yeah.
So those of you who don't know what I was talking about, it was televised, and they would pull out ping pong balls with numbers on them, and if it corresponded, it would really determine how likely you were to get a free trip to Southeast Asia.
Yeah, free trip. Absolutely.
And then they rebranded it and made it the lotto.
Right.
Now it's fun.
Right.
Now you can win money.
Yeah, there you go. I got to read a couple of stories, particularly for this first one's for you, Tiffany.
Oh, okay.
You know Andy too, by the way. You guys have.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure.
She's been on the show. This has to be like your 3rd or 4th time.
I think it's
at
like
least
20th.
20th?
20th time.
I don't know.
Somewhere between the two.
Anything that happened before 5 years ago, I just didn't happen to me.
Now, this is something I would never do, but it's also something I'd never put up with somebody else doing. Some instant karma payback here. A drive-through lane cutter got some instant karma payback. Would you ever think of cutting in front of someone at a drive-through lane?
Well, I can't even parallel park, so no.
You don't have the skill.
It was at a drive-through lane?
Drive-through lane. I was like, what? How did you even cut?
Well, I'm
Is
guessing,
it where they have the 2 lanes and then they merge? Like they turn, they got the
like
2
culvers,
windows and then it merges together into one.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna find out right now as I click on the story.
I think pretty much every Chick-fil-A is like that. They got the 2 because there's so many people going through there. They have to like maximum throughput.
Well, and they should have 1 lane for I know what I want and 1 lane for I don't.
Yeah, for real. This is the lane where you can go,
This is the
So what
lane.
sizes does those come in?
That's true.
Medium? How big is the medium?
Yeah.
Very true. In-N-Out drive-thrus always have theme park level lines, which makes this even better. 2 guys were at an In-N-Out in California. In-N-Out is good.
It is really good. I love In-N-Out.
It is really good. California, when another car zipped in and cut in line. You got to have a pair on you, man.
Yeah.
Because
You're asking for it.
Yeah, that's insane.
I went to high school with somebody that might shoot somebody for that. You know.
Depending on the fast food restaurant, yeah.
Yeah. Footage of what happened next is going viral because of how they handled it. They waited until the car that cut them off got up to the drive-through window. Then one of them walked up and told the cashier they wanted to pay for all the cars behind them in line. So the line cutter was the only one who didn't get in on it. That's a great idea. They were in a tricked-out Mercedes and obviously have money. It looks like the driver owns a few businesses. It's not clear how many cars they paid for, but it sounds like they spent a few $100s. The larger point was their random act of kindness doubled as sweet revenge. In the video comments, the guy said paying for people at drive-thrus is something he does a lot. The difference this time was he and his friend made sure the line cutter saw them do it. They noticed he parked outside to eat, so they took it a step further and parked right next to him. See, I like that a lot.
I do too.
There's a lot of shootings at drive-through those.
Yeah,
you hear that story about once a week. I don't know if that's the best place to mess with you.
Well, you know, I mean, you can't assume everybody has a gun.
Oh,
this is America, Tiffany.
Again,
they do.
No, they don't.
Even if they don't have a gun, they can ram you.
And if you're like,
or...
well, yeah, and most of us all are on ADHD medication. So what are the odds you're going to remember your gun?
That's exactly.
That's a good point.
When you go to the In-N-Out Burger.
One thing about paying it forward I never got is like, okay, I'm in a fast food line. I go up to the window. I'm like, I'm going to pay for the person behind me, or like, you know, the person behind me makes sense, but paying for everyone behind you, but they don't know what they've ordered yet. So what do they just like put a hold on your card or something?
Yeah, I've always wondered that too. Like, do I have to like, what is it? Do you just round it up, like, or up to $300, or like?
Yeah, I suppose.
Like
here's $200 and pay for people until that $200 runs out. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
Should we roll the dice here? Because it says there's audio, but warning: there are multiple F-bombs and other profanity in the video.
Sounds perfect.
You want to hear the video?
Well, I do if your producer does.
I mean,
and did you have the story?
We haven't censored the show in, I think, 11 years.
Well, that's true. Do you have it in front of you, Andy?
Is it on Wise Brother?
It's on Wise
Brother.
Brother.
There it is. Okay.
Multiple F-bombs and profanity.
I love multiple. You know, it's nice. It's like Netflix with the disclaimers now. But why is smoking a disclaimer? Like smoking. Like it's like murder,
child molesters, smoking.
All the terrible things we could possibly do. Exactly. And smoking.
But not drinking. They never bring up too much drinking.
Well, big alcohol wouldn't let you do that.
Yeah, my favorite is when there's a warning when Ethan's watching a show and it's like cartoon mischief. It's like, oh, well, we can't have any of that.
That's why we're watching it.
Okay, as a matter of fact, before we start with the audio, I want Andy, would you please, you haven't heard Andy's story about what Ethan did to him. Have you? Oh, neither one of them's heard this, Andy. He has got
the most told story in the world by the time the year is over.
Andy has a son. His first child stole my birthday, by the way. He was born on my birthday, so I don't have a birthday anymore.
Oh, okay.
But he at the time was 2 years and 10 months old.
This was probably a month ago. So about that.
2 years and 10 months old. So you got to tell the story of why he was a little sad at first because mom left or something, right?
Yes.
Okay, you tell the story.
Every night at about 7 o'clock, we go into his room and we just he can play with his trains or read books or whatever. Got to have your hour of wind down time before sleep. And so I was singing this one song from this one cartoon he used to watch, which he always thinks is fun. He likes singing and music and stuff like that. And then Melissa had to leave. I don't remember why, probably to go take care of Colin or something. And he got very mad. So he was, crying at the door. And so I start singing this song again to help cheer him up. And he walks over to me and he says, "You don't sing that crap again."
He's 2 years old.
2 years old. Yeah.
Already a critic.
Yeah.
You don't sing that crap again.
I know.
Okay.
I laughed pretty hard when he did that.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Which
just made it worse.
Right. How often has he said crap?
Now he says crap multiple times.
Yeah, because you laughed.
Yeah.
That was my first high as a kid. was that first laugh.
Mhm.
And it's a dragon you will chase the rest of your life.
Yep, he loves it when we think something he does is funny. It's always
Oh, he
unintentional. He's
He
never
loves
intent.
being funny.
He when he tries to be funny, he never is because kids they don't
Right.
have comedic
Right.
timing or anything like that. But when he like does something dumb and we laugh, he thinks it's the best thing in the world. And then of course he does it over and over for the next 6 months.
Yeah. Kids are the best. They have the best lines. My friend has 2 girls. And the little one was, I think, 3 at the time. And the older sister was maybe like 8, right? And mom hears screaming upstairs, runs
Whoa.
upstairs. Oh God, what's happening? The 3-year-old bit the 8-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
And so mom's like,
Ooh.
all right, why did you do that? She said, I didn't bite her. I was hugging her with my teeth.
Teeth hug.
That's a 3-year-old. Right
I'm
Yeah,
like,
it is.
that's valid.
because they say it's the terrible 2s, but it's actually the terrible 3s, right, Andy?
Ethan's 2s there was a very rough period for a little while there.
Yeah.
God, he would just
Stand by.
slam his head on things and kick the floor so hard that stuff fell off shelves.
Wow.
I think he got it over with early, hopefully.
Well, that's from your wife's side of the family.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
there you go.
I was always in a good mood as a child.
Oh yeah, Andy, always in a good mood, no question. All right, so you do have the audio for the
I think.
drive-through line cutter in California. Got some instant karma payback, and the footage is going viral. The guy he cut in front of it and in and out ended up paying for all the cars behind him, but he wouldn't pay for the guy who cut him off, and he does. And this has a lot of profanity in it. I've not heard it yet. So
Apparently.
So you got it, Andy?
I have a video that they linked to. Let's
All right.
see what it is. Well, it's not the most interesting audio in the world.
Oh, I get it now. Okay, so he got out of his car after
Yes,
getting cut
he's
off.
actually
Walks
walking up to the window.
Walks past the offender,
Yep.
up to the window. Okay. Run it.
Run it.
All right, that's good. I thought it'd be more interesting.
Run
I
it.
thought somebody'd be mad dropping the
Yeah, I
F-bomb.
thought it would be more of an exchange between them.
Yeah,
Like,
That's what I thought it was.
yeah, someone's all mad about the gorilla fries.
Ooh, where are the gorilla fries?
Isn't that an In-N-Out burger? Isn't that
In-N-Out-
what they're called?
Oh,
The gorilla
are
fries?
they?
I've never eaten
Do
it.
we even have In-N-Out here?
No,
Yeah.
no, we don't.
So-
It's a
Let's
West
go.
Coast.
We went to Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas is about the closest to here you can get it.
Yeah,
Mostly
that's about it.
like LA and that.
Gorilla
But you-
fries appears to be Dilla's.
What's
Dillard's?
it? What do they
I
have
don't know.
at In-N-Out Burger?
Dillard's.
They've got a fries that's
Let's
specialty.
see. What are their
I-
special fries?
Yeah, I
Oh,
forget.
they are called French fries.
Ah, the fries
so
of the
French
French.
fries.
Whoever heard
That's
that?
what, you know what?
I think they're imported.
I think they are. I think I'm
I
right.
think they're important.
Let's go back to this child that stole your birthday. That seems more interesting.
Yeah,
No,
Fries.
He did
I thought.
steal my birthday.
What am I thinking? It doesn't matter. Good story, Tiff. Way to keep them engaged.
Yeah, that's right.
Everything is fine, not a problem at all, ladies and gentlemen. No, I do like the idea though, but I thought he'd be a lot angrier, and that was just
Yeah.
laughing F-bombs.
Yeah.
So wasn't that?
Yeah, it was jovial. It's funny to do that. Also, too, but right? Like, who does that? Like, if someone cut you off in a fast food line, I had a guy try to cut me off at Aldi, and
Aldi?
yes, and I snapped a little too loudly because they don't really play a lot of music and it's quite echoey.
Mhm.
But I'm standing there. You know how like
And you don't
there's-
exactly have a secret agent
I
voice.
don't.
No,
I definitely
that's
do
true.
not.
That's
And
true.
so I'm standing there, and you know how the line gets, right? They try to make us all check out ourselves. You know what? You go to hell with that. I'm not doing it. I want someone to check me out. Plus, those little lanes, they're super short. You can't put all your groceries on there, and there's not enough bagging
Mhm.
room. It's like, no. So I wait. Well, they only got the one cashier open at the time, which is fine. So you got a gap, right? You allow people to cut through that are trying to get through to the self-serve, coming out of the frozen foods, trying to cut over. And so I left the gap. I'm minding my gap, but I'm behind the lady in front of me, and I'm allowing carts to go through. I allow this man to come through. He circles back, noses his cart in front of mine, and looks at me. And I go, "Excuse me?" And he said, "Oh, were you in line?" I'm like, "Yeah, I was." ugh, and he did. He was like literally, ugh. Like he verbalized, he was like doing a burnout in front of me or something. And he takes his card over to self-serve. And I'll tell you what, he was still trying to bag all of his crap. By the time I left, I felt good. I'm going to use your son's word. All of his crap.
I do. I really overuse the word crap. I use it for everything.
Yeah.
Good, negative, neutral. It's
Always have.
Yep.
All right. Before we move on to other subjects, Tiffany, you got to cover this for us because this is a fashion thing.
Oh, ooh.
Okay. And boys aren't that great with fashion things.
That's not true.
What?
Look at Doug wearing a sweatshirt from a disgraced university.
My little sister went to college. there.
disgrace.
Is it okay to wear Duke again?
What did they do this time?
No, a long time ago, but I mean, wasn't Duke a problem? I don't follow a lot of sports.
I do know that a friend of a friend, I didn't know the guy personally, but he got a scholarship to go play football at Duke. I think it was football, basketball maybe. And of course, he came home wearing pretty much that shirt, right? And a couple of Northside guys maybe never heard of it because they said, "You're going to a college called Dookie?"
Oh my God.
No, it's not.
Are you
Duke.
kidding?
Oh, no. They were serious. They thought it said Dookie, like Dookie stick.
Sure. Oh, his phone's ringing. I wonder if it's a Duke fan.
Yeah, it probably is.
They're probably already
is.
on me.
No, when they played the first NC2A tournament in the Metrodome,
Mm-hmm.
my little sister and her husband was a Dookie, also huge Blue
So
Devils
he's Dookie
fans.
too.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
You got to get me tickets. You got to get me tickets. And I couldn't. And she called the alum network and said, "Can we stay at your house?" I said, "Sure." But I went to one of the games with her. It was terrible. I hated the Metrodome. And we're like,
for basketball?
yeah, it was
Or football?
terrible.
Was it football?
It sucked for everything.
It
quite
did
honestly.
suck for everything.
But worst baseball field.
Except for the World Series. It was really good for that.
Yeah, I mean, they were exciting times, and I went to more
They were,
games
yeah.
in '87 than I've ever gone in my life. I was there for
Yeah.
the home opener and against Kansas City, and I think I saw 20 games that year, and which is a ton. And I was at Game 7 in '91 too. It was pretty exciting.
No question
Jack
about it.
Morris stare at what's his name?
Jack
It's like,
Morris.
"You're not pulling me out of the game."
He, honest to God, could do that. He could get that picture on his, that look on his face.
Yeah,
Like, oh.
you could. We were out in the nosebleeds, and you could tell he was pissed. It's like,
You can
let's
still
not
see
fuck
it.
with Jack here.
No, Jack was a tough guy. No
Yep.
question about it. Okay, I got to run this by you.
Okay.
Because you understand fashion and men don't.
Okay.
Whether they have Dookie shirts or not.
It's
Well, his own
okay.
Duque. It's Duque. Is this creative, high-end fashion, or is it shrinkflation? This is a true story. I'm not making this up, by the way.
Okay.
One of the supposed new trends we could see in 2025 is jeans or pants with one leg.
What?
What is the point of that? Now, the holes in the knee and all that stuff.
Yeah, I had
I
had one pair of those, and I just like, I'm not quite OCD, but I did constantly like trim the little strings.
That's pretty.
I was like,
Give it a
This
little
is
haircut. Make sure it's even up.
Exactly.
Clean up the sides a little bit.
Just one's hanging there. I got to get rid of that.
Yeah. You can't have them uneven strings.
Mhm.
I get one leg. Well, not in Minnesota.
No,
Not
Probably
today.
not the hot ticket. Is it like, okay, but is there a crotch? Or is it like a one-legged chap?
it's like
Yeah.
half shorts, half pants. I'm guessing.
Like if
Is
it's just showing the one leg, maybe you got one good leg. Maybe you just want to show the one leg.
Well, they do have a
Let's
picture of it.
buy Chris Egger
Because
a Christmas present.
There you go. He doesn't need the
Oh
one.
wow, man.
He would laugh if he was here.
There it is, right there. So it actually is well tailored.
Okay, well, I don't necessarily hate that. It's kind of like a long slit in the
Makes me
skirt.
Think of
You
like
know?
Final Fantasy protagonist.
I wouldn't want a dude wearing them necessarily.
Yeah.
That I mean, men obviously express whatever fashion you want to. I just,
But what's the point of one-legged pants?
Well, you only have to shave one leg.
yeah. Well,
Saves
if you
time.
I
if you
think- I
got
think it's
tattoos
to make money.
only on the one leg, maybe
Yeah.
you want to cover the tattoo leg up, or maybe you want to
Or
show it off.
yeah, depending on if you're going into an interview, you cover up the tattoo leg. You go
Yeah.
out with your friends, you show the tattoo.
What if you side
perfect.
saddle?
Perfect interview pants.
Yeah, those are good. Yeah,
Yeah,
depending
there
on
you go.
whether the boss you want to come onto him or you don't. There's
Right.
one leg up, then
Right.
you crisscross the other way.
Ooh,
Ooh, it's a girl.
exactly.
No.
Single.
Yep.
Yep.
Vote on Minnetonka.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how you got your job, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's cool.
Andy was talking about shaving his legs. That was a shot at me.
No, my legs are extremely hairy, and everyone knows it.
Well, we
I
do
have
now.
no hair
You look
on
like
my
a
legs.
bicycle racer.
I have no hair on my. I have no hair.
I know it's weird.
A little on my head and a little over the pubic bone, and that's about it.
Oh,
That's great.
Wait,
You're-
I got
you're-
armpit hair.
Thank you.
I got armpit hair,
I'm gonna make-
Oh, good. Yeah.
so that's good.
Is it just because men wear those tight dress socks a lot of times that are just like
I hate 'em.
underneath the knee?
I
Have
just-
you ever seen it where a guy doesn't have
My
any hair
arms
on
are
his
not
calves,
hairy.
but then the tops of the legs are
Oh,
hairy
yeah,
because
that's a-
because of the hair, because of
That's
the
weird.
socks. Yeah, it looks strange. It looks like you're wearing socks now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Little hairy knees.
New York Post says one-legged pants take over runways as part of jarring new trend.
Jarring.
I
I'm
don't
not
think-
jarred.
Not jarred.
Well, it's also if it's on a runway, that doesn't make it a trend.
Yeah.
People wear all
Well,
sorts
that's
of
true.
weird crap on runways.
Yeah, they call it a trend when designers copy each other.
Yeah.
but-
Exactly.
That is very true. So what else is in the news? Do you pay attention to the news before you go on stage?
I don't do a ton of topical stuff, but yeah, I do mostly just to see if there's things to stay away
Right,
from,
right,
right? Like,
right.
I mean, sometimes jokes age old gradually, and sometimes they age that day,
Mm,
depending
Yeah.
on situations. But yeah, I do, and before I'm coming on the air too, because I'd like to at least, I mean, it's still the information's still going to have to go through my warped brain, but at least I want to have like absorbed it. Hopefully,
Yeah.
before I get on air. Did you hear about in the Woodbury High School thing they were talking
Yeah,
about
we
in
were
the
talking
news
about that
today?
Oh,
we
they're
talked
earlier.
about
Why
it
did
earlier.
that guy
Right
did-
before you got?
Let's do
here.
it again because
Oh,
I wanna
okay.
hear-
I don't know what
Okay.
you're talking about.
Okay, Andy,
Okay.
I'll read the headline.
Oh my God.
I don't really understand why this guy thought this would be a good idea. Did they already remove the story from the Star Tribune? They might have, because it was right on the top of the front page. And now I can't find it at all.
Oh, I think they had it. Well, they were talking about it on 5, I believe, this morning.
Yeah,
But,
that's what he told me. I do not see it in the Star Tribune anymore. Maybe a drop down. Talk amongst yourself. I'll keep looking.
Okay.
All right, keep looking.
Well, it was what I heard from the story this morning is that there's a substitute teacher that is now banned
Oh, I think
from Woodbury High School.
I think I found it.
Because
Oh, you found it.
he thought it would be. Now, has anybody ever been a substitute teacher? Because I have.
I've had
No.
a substitute teacher.
Okay, you've had one.
Does that count?
I've been no, but I was one temporarily after I got out of college, right? So you're not really supposed to derivate from the curriculum. There's
Right.
usually a curriculum laid out for you, and you're just supposed to make sure everybody keeps their fingers and toes, sits down, blah blah blah. That's it. This guy thought it would be fun to interact with the kids and do a reenactment of the George Floyd
Yeah.
situation.
Oh,
Yeah, it is on
And-
5. You're right. I found it.
Yeah, and he's a former police officer. They did not say where.
They
And
did
he
not
thought
say
the
where,
kids
but-
would appreciate learning about the proper way to use the prone hold and technique. And so he started demonstrating them on volunteers in the room. So yeah.
Well, there was more to it too.
Oh,
Then he
there-
started talking about sex crimes that he investigated.
Oh, I didn't hear about
and
that.
the weirdly mutilated
Jeez.
bodies that he discovered.
You know, does this guy not have enough oh my God, like city council meetings to go
Well, the
terrorize?
cops
He's just-
are talking to him. This is a little more than we don't need you here at Woodbury HS.
You say that cops would be the best criminals because they know how to get away with stuff.
Oh.
yeah, yeah.
Shared specific names of people he arrested.
Oh.
That is a
Oh.
big no-no.
That is great.
Yeah, spoken disturbing detail about dead bodies he had seen.
Hmm.
Explicit details about 2 sexual assault cases he investigated.
Oh, God.
Mimicked
This is-
holding up a gun and pointing it at students. Well,
This has the feeling, and it'll be interesting to see if there's any follow up, but I wonder if he's not bipolar. and
Well,
that sounds
just
like mania
this
to me.
sounds
Yeah.
like mania to
Yeah.
me. It really
Yeah.
yeah,
does.
sounds
he's
like
probably
mania.
in some kind of a mental health crisis for
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah.
or PTSD, something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, you there's
Well, there's
yeah.
a lot of stories about substitute teachers trying way too hard to
Yeah,
connect,
yeah.
and they end up saying and doing things that
Yeah.
are just like, what the hell were you thinking?
And they lay it out for you. They literally tell you, just do this,
Mhm.
just do this. We were, just have them read.
So
Yeah.
my dad was a psychologist, and I just wound up reading a bunch of behavioral stuff as a result. And when I was in high school, I think it was an English class, our teacher was sick a lot, and we always had subs. And so we started messing with them. So what's the one thing that a substitute teacher would crave?
Would crave
Validation.
Attention.
Yeah.
Oh well.
So when they would come, I taught my whole
Silence.
class. We're going to do a little behavioral psychology here. When Miss Tiffany comes in, we're going to get her to give the whole lecture standing in the corner. And we used attention as a reward. So as she would sort of wander around here, we just.
so you were
Oh.
using mirroring techniques
And
to non-verbally communicate.
Well, it was actually behavior reinforcement.
Classical conditioning.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
it really
sorry.
was. It was
Oh,
almost
okay.
Skinnerian if we're going to do that.
I didn't realize your dad was a psychiatrist or psychologist.
He is, yeah.
Well, I have a
Um,
minor in psychology from
Everybody does.
Mankato State. Well,
Yeah,
from Mankato
that
State,
and marketing.
and I'm flexing on you a little.
Okay, no, that's fine.
I was on the
Minor.
other side of that table. So you two did the business, and I'm the one who showed up and paid you. So that's good. What else happened, Tom? You don't want to know.
Yeah, right. Substitute teacher. That's a hard. It's an easy gig as long as you realize you will affect no change.
Right.
It's like you're the opener for a big headliner.
Right.
No one cares you're there.
Right.
You're a time fill. You are
It's like when-
you are increasing the ticket prices. That's all you are.
Prince warmed up for the Rolling Stones famously. They get booed off the stage here in Minneapolis. Did you know that?
Yep.
Yeah, well, that was a mismatch, right? I don't think after I substitute taught, any teacher came back to her homeroom and it was just like they revolted because it wasn't me.
Yeah.
It probably didn't happen.
No, I was like, put your heads on your desks if you want. Do whatever you want. Just sit in your desk.
Yeah, for me,
That was
substitute
basically
day.
it.
Substitute day usually meant it's movie day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, if there was a movie, if there was an AV kid, snap. Where's the AV kid? We're
Yep.
doing that. Overheads. Yep.
Oh, yeah. No question. The story they're talking about, district substitute teacher reenacted George Floyd murder at Woodbury High School. The teacher now banned from South Washington County schools.
Yeah.
Also allegedly mimicked pointing a gun at students during classes on Monday. He's now under investigation by the district. That ain't going to turn out well.
No. And the fact that he did all that stuff in front of minors and you are law enforcement, and it doesn't say though where he was, and it doesn't look like he's active law enforcement. So he may have been removed and is looking for, another career path, and being, we need police officers and public safety officers in our schools. But we also need to know, that they're not gonna,
Crazy.
not
I mean,
crazy would
crazy
be
ones.
nice.
Yeah.
It would be nice to know that you left your career in law enforcement because you just didn't want to do it anymore, not because you were imagining stuff.
I think The Simpsons said it best. Dead Poet Society destroyed a generation of educators.
That's pretty
They all
funny,
think
actually.
they all think they're the cool teacher who can get away with
Yep.
stuff.
Yeah.
I just rewatched that about a year ago. It's a lovely movie. It really is. Made me miss Robin Williams.
Yeah. I
He
love
was
the.
good.
Did you guys see The Leftovers? That one came out last year.
What is that? That sounds familiar.
It's Paul Giamatti, but it's a similar. It's all the
Oh,
people,
yes.
and it's a
Yep.
boarding school, and
It's
it's
really
he
good.
has
Oh, I
to
did see
stay.
that. Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
really
he has to
good.
stay with all the kids that get left over because for
Yep.
whatever reasons their parents don't come get them or they're busy or whatever. And that reminded me of Dead Poet Society too, because he's the opposite character. He's the reason why no one wants to go into teaching because he's so bitter.
Yeah,
Right.
And he had
No,
some
that was
weird
a good
physical
movie.
problem too, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
I
Mhm.
don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
I think he does in real life, actually.
Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, some kind of weird setup. But
I don't know.
I've
He's
always liked-
brilliant.
He is.
The first time I saw him was Private Parts, Howard Stern's movie. That was the very first time I
Who's
remember
Howard
seeing
Stern now again? I
that.
can't
He's
remember.
this guy.
The guy came
he-
in like 20th place in the.
Yeah. He had
market.
he wore a wig.
He wore a wig.
But that in that movie, and he was so good as a program director.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember?
No, I never saw it because.
Oh,
I
you
was
do? Oh,
busy
okay.
kicking
Well,
his
he's
ass
just
at the time.
screaming at him. He's pulling him in up, right? I'm sorry. tough subject. I should have skipped that part, right?
No, it was
H-
great. I bring
yeah.
it up. It's the only place he ever lost.
No, I know. I remember when actually this dovetails well. I was listening to both of you at the same time.
Oh, sure.
And I
yeah,
was
a lot
of the
worse.
camp that Stern was not going to make it in the market. And I was
You were
correct.
right.
I was.
You were correct.
I didn't put any money on it.
Oh,
Mostly
so you
because-
didn't trust Uncle Tom enough to make you any
Well,
money.
there wasn't any, there's no sport radio betting yet. And there
Not
should
yet.
be. There
There
should be.
should.
We should be able to we should bet on the ratings. Why can't we bet on them?
Boy, is he getting turned on. Apparently, he's completely changed his delivery again. Now he's way far left. It's like,
He's been that way for a long
well,
time.
I mean, he's way far left.
Oh, he's been that way for a long
Oh,
time.
has he? I don't know. I didn't spend any time with. I don't care what he does. Good for him.
I've never met him. I was just talking about Paul Giamatti though, because he plays.
I do love Paul
he
Giamatti.
plays the
Giamatti's
program
great.
director so well, and I know you will relate to this type of
Well, maybe I'll watch
personality.
it now. I could watch it.
This type of personality you will relate to. You will
Oh, yeah.
absolutely go, because he's telling him, here he is. He's been recruited. He's doing well. He's finally at his dream radio station, and he thinks people want him there. They don't. Don Imus does not want him there.
Oh, is
He's-
Don Imus in it too?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Well,
didn't
I
know
mean,
that.
I don't think it's actually Imus himself, but it's someone
Somebody
playing
playing
Imus. Yes,
Don
and
Imus,
it's
okay.
him joining, and he thinks he's coming from DC to New York, thinking, "Oh my God, it's the dream," and he's trying to live up. His
Mhm.
father was in radio, and he's trying to be like
Oh, okay.
his. I think his dad was an engineer. I think.
Okay.
But yeah, no one wants him there. And then the Paul Giamatti's character comes in. He's like, you know what? I know you do things your way, but this is WNBC. You have to say the call letters correctly. And they make him practice saying the
Oh,
call
really?
letters over and over.
Oh.
WNBC, WNBC.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember they did
WNBC. And he's not doing it right. And it's like, and he just tries tormenting that.
Was he? That was he was doing afternoon drive then, right?
I don't remember if they said the time during
think
it.
he-
I
I
don't
think he
remember
did
if they said the
afternoon
day
drive.
part, but I know that he goes to try to meet Imus's first day, and Imus shuts the door on him. Doesn't want anything to do with him.
Catherine and I were living in New York at that time.
Okay.
My
Have you
favorite-
ever met him? Have you ever met Don Imus?
No.
Okay.
Oh, Don Imus, I have. Yeah,
You
but
have?
not-
Okay.
but not Howard.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
not
yeah.
Howard. But I remember walking down the street. Is that 83? I think, Andy, is when that shooting happened over at the what the hell's the name of the restaurant again? Now I can't remember.
Oh, the mob shooting?
Yeah,
Let me just Google mob shooting and
Yeah,
go
well,
through the list.
Mob shooting at
Paul
restaurant.
Castronovo.
Paul Castronovo shooting.
I think it was 83. Pretty sure it was. That was 41 years ago. Jesus, can that be right?
Don't have any idea.
I think this building's run by the mob. The
This
building we're in.
might be.
Well, just because you can't find any numbers. I mean, none of the numbers are sequential.
That happened
That's
just
true.
yesterday, Monday. I should say. Like I could not find this office.
It is. Someone didn't want to be found. Remember, we had a lot
That
of
was
those
me.
those
Yeah,
bad
yeah.
business guys in town in the 80s.
Oh yeah.
taking money left and right. They probably built these.
What the hell was the name of the restaurant? Because if he looked up the name of the restaurant, he could find the shooting.
Just say it's Olive Garden for the sake of
The
it.
Olive
Olive
Garden. Oh my
Garden.
God.
But anyway,
I bet if I Google Olive Garden shooting, I'll find at least one.
just because
In
it's
Florida.
Italian food.
Ah, here we go. Olive Garden shooting suspects hearing delay.
Olive Garden shooting suspect.
Happened in June of this year.
Oh my God! At
Yeah.
Olive
where,
Garden.
where,
Yeah, well, they
which
dump-
Olive Garden?
They dumped the
Let's
bottomless
see.
breadsticks and people
Yeah,
got
must be.
pissed off.
I just run around, grab all that free salad.
That's so funny. My
What state
father-in-law.
is this?
He thought Olive Garden was the greatest
I bet-
restaurant of all time.
I bet
Michigan.
I
Florida.
know some.
Michigan?
Yep.
Oh yeah. they go
Westland,
hard.
Michigan.
What shooting in Michigan? Who ever heard of it?
Probably not Auburn Hills. So anyway,
Yeah,
you were going to tell the Howard Stern story.
I was, but I
Don
can't.
Imus.
But just use Olive Garden. It doesn't matter the name of the restaurant.
Well,
I'm
this
still looking for you.
God, the restaurant where
I'm
the
trying to-
guy where Paul was. his name?
83. Are you?
I was. It seemed like it was 1983.
I don't think it was Castronovo because that's not
Paul. What the hell was the head of the mafia's name?
Castellano.
Paul Castellano. I bet you that's it.
Restaurant shooting.
I
Let's
bet you.
see.
Yeah, I bet you it's Castellano.
1985, December.
Oh, it was 85.
Sparks Steakhouse.
It's Sparks Steakhouse.
Okay.
That's it. So it was 85, not 80.
There we
Which
are.
really makes a better story than the Olive Garden.
Well, when
I
you
think
when,
the
when
Olive
you put
Garden-
organized crime into Wiki, you get a lot of pages.
Yeah,
Yeah,
There's a few
that's right.
a lot of
there's a few
information to go through.
few entries.
I'm listening to Howard Stern do the afternoon show. And I had already heard, well, first of all, I should say this part. I'm walking down the street in New York City, and I did not hear any gunshots, but I sure as hell heard a lot of sirens on ambulances and police cars.
No.
Holy Christ, did it get
Were
loud.
you there?
I was about 2 blocks away, right?
No.
But I'm like, what the hell? So I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So I don't know if you hop on your phone back then or if I just had a little transistor radio with me
Probably.
or whatever. But I start listening to Howard Stern, and he calls Sparks Steakhouse.
Oh, he called that steakhouse?
He called the steakhouse live on the air.
Yeah.
They answered the phone.
Yeah.
He said, I'd like to make a reservation for dinner tonight. And they didn't redirect him. They just figured we're going to just go forward with this. We're going to ignore it when people call in. I mean, 2 people shot to death right out in front of the restaurant.
Wow.
So Stern's going, the guy says, what time would you like it? He goes, I don't get up till 6. Why don't we make it 7 o'clock? 7 o'clock would be good. And only one other thing. We'd like to sit in the no shooting section. That was funny. Howard, I got to give you credit. That was funny.
Yeah, remember the golden age of prank calls back,
Oh,
back
God,
before
yeah.
they became
Oh, yeah.
illegal?
Yeah, you can't
do that
do
anymore.
them anymore.
Ruin Lastman's career.
Yeah, for real.
It's
So many
Poor
people, like
Lassie.
crank yankers, that entire show was
Yeah,
literally
that's
just
right.
prank calling people.
that is what I always loved about radio. Just
Yeah,
the fact that
yes.
you could play pranks and play all these different characters.
so
And
fun.
I know.
But they had to ruin it, of course.
Yes.
I know
Yes,
it.
they did.
Our old buddy Moon had
Oh, yeah.
some great.
Oh,
pranks.
my
He got
God,
in-
well,
he got in
Moon-
trouble for a few of them.
Well,
Did
Moon-
he really?
Oh,
I wanna
Moon-
hear it.
Moon shut down the Las Vegas Boulevard.
Oh,
Oh, that's not good
Not with
news.
and with not permission. He advertised he was new in Vegas and he wanted to get ratings.
oh
And so he got
yeah.
topless women to give free haircuts.
God.
And he put it on the air because there was this barber shop that did topless haircuts. And he was like, I'm buying. And the line
Mm.
went all the way down, snaking around Vegas Boulevard. There was so much traffic. They had to assign cops to direct traffic. The program director is getting screamed at by the mayor. What is your DJ doing? We're just like, he's like, there's no permit. There's not supposed to be a parade or any of this. And he's like, it's not. It was a promotion. I just said I was going to give out
Right.
haircuts, free topless haircuts.
I miss that guy.
I know.
Oh, God.
He could tell. Yeah.
Moon was phenomenal. And his wife is so sweet.
Oh my God.
Very
Yes.
nice
Yeah. She's just a gem. And those two together, yeah. Can't say enough. I miss him. I miss him all the time.
Were you the one who called and told me he died?
I think I did call you.
I think
Yeah.
you did call me. He was such a nice guy.
Yeah. I miss my buddy. He
So
was my
I-
favorite.
I did stuff with him and Stacy for about 3 years, and at first it's 60 minutes pre-recorded, so we can't have too much fun. But we're reading scripts, and I said, "Hey, why don't we just ad-lib it a little bit?" And he's like, "Oh, what if it's not perfect?" I said, "That's actually what makes it perfect. If it's
Mhm.
kind
Yeah.
of, it makes people
Yep.
listen."
Yep.
And he'd say, "Okay, what are we going to talk about?" And it's like sign and drive leases or some boring car thing, and he'd get this look on his face, and he'd go, "Okay, give me a minute." Okay, got it. Go. And he would open up with a weirdest non sequitur.
Yep.
Have you ever eaten a banana in a spaceship?
Did you just say
Sweet.
banana? Oh my God.
I
That's
did.
so funny. I was just thinking of a banana story about Moon when we're on the air.
I just
When
had
it-
a banana last night.
Did you?
Oh, there you go.
Good. Keep your potassium
So
up.
it was so, and Stacy and I look at each other. It's like, what the fuck are we gonna do with this?
I wonder if it was the same week. He was talking about bananas a lot for a while there. I don't know why. And no, we were on the air, and I'm not going to say the name of the advertiser because I don't know if they advertise here or anything. But
That's all right.
he
You
was
can
running
throw it
out of,
there.
when Stacy would not be there and he had to do lives by himself, he's used to doing more of a conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
And
yep.
so when he has to kind of fill and improv on his own time, sometimes it works really well. Sometimes it's a little disorganized. And he was, and one of the things he was supposed to pitch is the weekly special was bananas. And he's like, I don't know. I got 10 more seconds doing this commercial. I don't know what else to tell you guys. Buy some bananas for Christ's sakes.
Well, there you go.
Well, but for the Christ's sakes part was a
that's
bit
not
of a
Hubbard.
problem for the advertiser.
Oh, come on.
Well, it kind of, I know,
Big babies.
but it was, it was a paid spot in that, and it was a live read, and they didn't go with the copy, and so then Stacy got those. They didn't yank the advertising. They're like,
But that's what makes it work.
Exactly. Was it Cub?
No.
Damn it! I thought it was.
I
Cub.
think it starts with the other hard
No,
C.
don't. We're not going to speculate. No, I'll tell you. I'll tell you off air. I'll tell you off air.
Kawasaki. Yeah.
I'll tell you off air. But yeah, it was
Cluns
funny.
and Clyerleys. Is that what it was?
I was running the board, and I'm like, this is going to come back. This is coming back. I can feel the meeting. I can feel the meeting.
Nothing compared to what we used to do. Oh my God. And every once in a while I'd tell Pat Eberts, I said, don't send that tape to Paul.
Yeah, right. Leave that one out of the rotation. We'll
He
find a
puts me
different.
on the air with Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh
and
my
Gilbert
God.
wants to start
Phenomenal.
playing Jew or not a Jew. I'm like, oh
Oh
my
my
God.
God.
How do we get out of this one? It was pretty funny, actually.
Yeah.
I can't believe he's not around anymore.
I
What'd you bring
know.
him up for?
We're talking about all our dead
Louis
friends.
Anderson. I mean, my
Yeah,
God.
a lot of them.
Although I will say a positive Moon one, and everybody, any radio people that are listening, you can do this bit in honor of Moon. But I first started working with him, and he's like, "All right, Bangs," that was my nickname. Get on the phones. We're gonna do a burner, which is a phone burner, right? We're gonna get a bunch of people to call. I'm like, all right, what's the subject? He's like, what smell are you smelling?
What smell are you smelling?
What smell are you smelling? And I'm like, brand new. And I'm like, this is all right. The phone's lit up. We had texts for hours. People kept calling, telling us what they were smelling.
I'm smelling hamburgers.
I'm smelling this. I'm smelling a victory. I'm smelling a loss. I'm smelling this. It went on and on and on. And I was like, this is genius. Because everybody can see themselves in this, unless you have a sensitivity to smell or something like that. But for the most part, everybody, he was so ethereal and so I don't know. He had a great way of never making anybody feel excluded or that something wasn't for someone.
Well, and his
know what I
secret
mean?
is he pretended to be the dumbest person in the room.
Right.
He never was.
Never was. Well,
Well,
when I was in the room,
All right. So
it was just he and I.
so he only had to
No,
beat
but
out one person.
he played possum very well. He was he was humble, and he didn't lead with all the bravado.
Right.
No.
But yeah, like he all that stuff. He'd be like, what direction are you facing? And
Right.
people would
call
in.
Oh,
Like
I
it's
know.
fascinating
It's-
content.
But people want to
I
be
get
involved. They want to be involved. That's the fun part about radio that I miss. Like it's like all too many people. Like air checking and quantifying and all the stats and all that stuff. Let's just be fun, man. Let's just have it's a playground. Let's have fun.
It used to be. There's no question about it.
Well,
People got too tight in the underwear part.
Focus groups.
Do you think that's what it is? Focus groups?
I remember they were trying to get our business, and what's a company from Iowa? Is it Magid?
Maggot, yeah.
That does
really bad name.
consumer research.
Magid
It's really horrible.
Seriously.
I've
guy's
not
name
heard
was-
of it, and I also don't like the branding.
The guy's name was Frank Maggot. That was his name.
So
That's
they
a shame.
Dragged me and
Bring
Alan
some
into
pride to
one
the
of the
Magid
offices
name.
over in KSTP, and they said, and they played the Lacey Underall commercial. My
Oh,
wife
yeah.
did with you.
Yeah.
This was the price detective, and my wife is acting like a bondage discipline queen. I mean, it was really, we pushed it really hard.
Okay.
And they're playing the audience. Well, this is terrible, and people don't like that. And it's Tom Bernard's really divisive, and you really need. Blah, blah, blah. I said, let me hang on a second. Let me ask you a question. If Tom's so divisive, why did you guys hire him to do ads for your Channel 5 Eyewitness News show? And the room just went silent.
There you go.
And I said, I know this pushed it. We got we don't need any help selling cars. We're good. See ya.
Yeah.
Mr. Maggot.
Well, that's one
Mr.
thing that
Maggot.
the internet has definitely figured out, that once you know that it's there, you'll never stop seeing it. It's called engagement baiting. So what people will do is they'll put like a typo in a post that people like can't help but correct.
Yep.
And what that does is that gives them 10,000 comments on their post, and those comments count as very high engagement, which makes them shared everywhere.
Yep.
And it's been a thing forever. The radio is like that. You know, you say something controversial, you know, you're going to get a million phone calls, even if only half of them are positive. That's still a lot of people talking about it. They're going to talk to their friends about it, and their friends are going to talk to their friends.
Absolutely.
And some of them are going to become an audience.
Well, yeah. And when you're online, when someone likes a post or interacts with a post, like on Twitter or something like that, you don't know if they're reacting to it because they, you know what I mean? Their intention behind it. Right. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you get 10,000 comments on a post. It doesn't mean your post is actually anybody's reading it, but everybody feels so compelled to correct everybody all the time.
Yep. Engagement is all that matters. They don't have to watch it. They don't have to watch the video. They don't have to read what you wrote. They just have to engage.
So I showed this to Andy actually last week. I was going to tell you about it too. Mm-hmm. I took over doing social media for this podcast in the morning one because Melissa, his wife, is like, I got 2 little kids. I can't do it anymore. So I'm like, I got it. I found a picture. I took a picture of a boat on the St. Croix. Now I know the people that own this actually, and it's playing to the old KQ crowd because the name of the boat is spelled BICH.
Oh, there you go. BICH
hyphenated, which is a BICH. Famous arrest audio that Tom guys played for.
I like how you're acting like I don't know what that is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I have
459,000 impressions. I'm like, what the? Because I'm looking at the overall stats going, I am the most brilliant social media marketing director. Wait a minute. This can't be right. 459,000.
And as Cumulus stepped in, they got rid of all of it. Can't do that kind of stuff anymore.
Well, I've been doing it last month.
No, I know. No, I'm talking about when they took over the morning show at KQRS.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I mean,
social media is tough. I mean, that's like, I won't even go on LinkedIn. Does anybody go on LinkedIn?
LinkedIn has turned into Facebook. I just started going back in there to look for jobs.
Oh, I hate it. It's the most phony thing on the planet. You put anything that's not, oh God, you don't put anything that isn't hashtag positivity. I just signed a client. I'm going this, I'm doing that. Like no one will engage with you on it. And they will only, I have real friends on there and they only power down to say like happy 1-year anniversary at your job because you're prompted to. It's like, you don't even know what job I'm at.
Right.
You don't care.
Right.
Like, it's just it's a big business card to me. There's nothing, everybody's just bragging about themselves is what it feels like.
Yeah. Pontificators, right?
Yeah.
They're giving me unwanted advice.
Yeah. Oh my God. So much like, oh, well, let me tell you how I grew my brand. Cool.
You know, I'm going to ask you a question because this you were talking about, Frank Magid, we can't have these too divisive, blah, 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 blah. How did they arrive at I was divisive? I was the one that said we need to come together and assimilate. And I got roasted for that too.
Well, this had to be the recession. This is 08 or 09. So it was a while ago. Mm-hmm. But they're doing their job. They're trying to sell advertising. And the way they did it is the worst way to sell something, which is what you run down the competitive product. You learn that your first day selling cars. If they're looking at a Toyota and they're looking at Ford, don't tell them what a piece of shit the Ford is. It's a bad sales technique. That's exactly what they were doing.
Why were they doing that?
Because they thought it was, I don't know.
It was the highest rated morning show in America. I mean, it couldn't have been too divisive.
No, it was awesome.
Well, but a lot of these marketing companies and these consultants and stuff like that, their vested interest in is that they know more.
Yeah, that's true.
And they have to have an opinion. They have to come in with a hot take and they have to say this and that. And it's like, well, yeah, but like we were talking about, Andy wasn't here yet, but we were talking about wrestling. That's bringing heat.
Yeah.
That's bringing heat in the ring. When it's divisiveness. Yeah, it's heat. I mean, it's engagement.
This particular spot, we did push it pretty hard. My wife is saying stuff like, we're putting the handcuffs on high prices and I'll have to spank the competition.
Oh, that's not that bad.
Listen, I'll play it for you sometime. You go, well, yeah, that is pretty good, actually.
Well, okay.
Do you remember the Corn Nuts commercial that used to play on the air all the time?
I don't.
Go to your room and lock the door, because when you try it once, you're going to try it some more. Size doesn't matter, and that's a fact. It may be small, but it's a big impact. Bust a nut, bust a nut. And this was played on the radio for years.
Oh, my God. I never even heard that.
Corn Nuts, yep.
Really? Bust a nut.
Roughly what year?
Uh,
Sorry, talking to the microphone.
Got to be early 2000s.
And it was brought to you by Magid Productions.
So I mean,
Yeah,
so I
there
mean,
you
if you
go.
think putting the handcuffs on high prices is too risque for radio,
well,
it
yeah.
can get a lot worse than that.
I mean, this is a rock format, though. I mean, that was a rock format.
Right.
So I mean,
Yep.
come
It's not
on. I mean,
it's not on NPR.
Well, yeah, that's what
well,
I mean,
yeah, that too.
I mean, look at your demo. Look
Yeah.
at your demographic. I
Mhm.
mean, that's cute.
Although Paul's secretary walked back into the office after they'd played the commercial, and she looked at me and went, "Dirty pirate hooker."
Oh,
It's like, oh my God. Calm down, Donna.
Well,
What the hell?
Well, she didn't.
And then he just put on his one-legged pants and
That's right.
walked around the street.
Yeah,
walked
put on-
around with the.
you got the one-legged pants because you got the peg leg. There you
Yeah.
go.
That
Yeah.
could be, no question. Yeah, I don't know. It's a different world. It's interesting you bring that stuff up because if there's one business in the world where ownership, management, and talent don't ever match up, it's radio. It just never ever. Nothing flows smooth. Even when we were bringing in $40 million a minute, it's still there was always a problem.
Do you think though that it is that corporate leaders, like when you're the on-air talent, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're the master on air, right? When you're the host and all that stuff, but they also think they're yours.
Yeah, they
right?
do. Yep.
And so I don't know if anybody in the room's read the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Fantastic book, but it's a historical review. And basically these 48 historical situations and stories basically about power and power dynamics in society. And number one is never outshine the master.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the number one rule.
That's very
And
true.
so oftentimes people who rise to the high levels in radio and broadcasting, I have noticed a trend that they started out as DJs themselves and they didn't quite get to where they wanted to. And then they went into marketing and or whatever, right? And programming. Well, they still want to be the master.
Yeah, they do.
And they've got the money. So never outshine the master. That some of that is where that comes in. And when you're the talent, you're like, yeah, but no one would be listening to your product if it weren't for me. And they're like, yeah, but you wouldn't have a product if it wasn't for me. So that's where the rub goes. So you just got to kiss ass, which you don't do.
That's all it is. That's all you got to do.
Which you don't do very well.
I don't do
You
it
don't
at
do
all.
that
I just can't do
so
it.
much.
And a lot of people do not like me because I can't do it.
Yeah.
I just can't suck up to people. It's just not in my nature. I don't know why that is, but I just can't. I literally cannot do it. And it does piss them off.
Yeah.
Tough titty.
Tough titty. I haven't heard that in
It's been a while.
tough. What other instances where you just say something tough titty?
That was
Tough
from a
titty.
movie. What movie was it from? He goes, he looks up. It was,
Tough titty.
oh, it was Monty Python.
Oh, was it?
Well, we can't do it this way. It's going to destroy everything. Tough titty.
I heard I know you don't listen to public radio, but one of my favorite shows
do
is
listen
Wait,
to
Wait,
public
Don't
radio.
Tell Me. It's on.
Oh
Saturday
yeah, wait,
mornings.
don't tell me that.
And
is
they
a fun
had
show.
Eric Idle on.
Okay.
Oh, I
And
love
they're
Eric
started
Idle.
and Peter
Love him.
Siegel is starting to tell Eric Idle stories. He goes, apparently Elvis and Priscilla were huge fans, and when they would go to bed, they would do Monty Python. skits
Really?
together.
I love that.
It's so
I
cute.
had no
it really
idea
is.
that was the case.
That's so funny.
Elvis, I wouldn't think he could understand most of their humor.
I don't know.
Maybe he was brighter than I thought he was.
Maybe
If we died at like 46,
he
or
was
something?
not very old.
God.
I-
And Monty Python was just getting started.
And they were
They were
just-
probably close to the peak of their powers.
'Cause-
It was 42.
Yeah, because Timmy died.
1977.
I was going to say 77 because I
Yeah.
vaguely remember it. I was 5,
42 years
and I
old.
vaguely remember my mother just bawling.
Yeah, mine too.
I remember her
Yep.
being so upset. She's like, Elvis died.
I had to.
And we
tell her
had
that.
we had one of his albums downstairs, and then I didn't know who Elvis was, and then she showed me on the album, like, oh, okay, that guy.
I never really appreciated him until much later, because I was born in '58, so I was not really conscious of the pop world when he was at the peak of his powers. I knew more of the cartoon Vegas Elvis,
Yeah, yeah,
big fat guy
later.
with the scarves.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
I'm like, God, this guy kind of sucks. And then I don't know, must have been in the late 80s. I started listening to early 50s music. I'm like, this guy's kind of a badass.
Mhm.
It's very talented and a great singer.
Well, one of my favorite interviews, a street interview when Elvis broke. So that would have been what, 54, 55, something like that. Yes, that must have been because I think we got our very first television in 1954. Might have been 55.
7-incher.
Oh no, this thing was the size of this room, for Christ's sake.
Wow.
Yeah, the screen was that
Yeah,
big.
Yeah,
that's
the
what I mean.
screen.
The
Yeah,
cabinet was the size of this room.
like when we show the old computers in the movie War Games.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
look at the Whopper. That's what computers used to be, kids.
Oh yeah. But he said that this reporter said that he just did not care for Elvis Presley's race music.
Yeah.
They called it race music.
Well, it was. He did steal most of his music from black
Yeah.
performers,
question
and so
about it.
I mean, so he was playing black music,
Yeah.
but he was, and he was performing, and but also too, he grew up in the South, and
Yeah.
he really did
Right.
want to entertain all audiences. It wasn't,
Did you ever see the house where he spent part of his childhood?
I've never been to Graceland either, but I'd like to. I've been in the area, but never actually just been there, or Dollywood. Never been there either.
The house he grew up in was about the size of this room.
Yeah, I would bet.
Yeah.
It's like, holy God. He didn't really grow up there. I guess he spent a few years there, but yeah, we'll close it because we got to close anyway, but we'll close with my favorite Elvis story. I just love it. My friend, Steve Hatley, who's no longer with us. And I'll tell you why in a second, but he was working at WHBQ in Memphis, Tennessee, Elvis Presley's favorite radio station. So you get to meet Elvis. Elvis would come in all the time and all the rest of it. But Elvis was this kind of guy. So Steve Hatley's getting out of his car to go in and do his show. And this motorcycle pulls up. Turns out it's Elvis Presley. And Hatley says, Elvis, God, what a beautiful motorcycle. So you like it, man? He goes, yeah, it's one of the most beautiful. What is that? And he told him all about it, what it was and all the rest of it. And he goes, okay, man, here. Gives him the keys.
No.
Yep.
No.
He gave him the motorcycle.
Ah.
Now, the bad side of the story is a
Oh.
couple years later, Steve Hatley got in a motorcycle accident and died.
Oh, no. I was going to say that as a joke.
Oh, my God.
Oh, on that
Oh,
motorcycle.
no.
On that motorcycle.
Oh, no.
That's not good.
Also, it kind of tells you that Elvis was born for an eearly grave. Motorcycle,
Yeah.
toilets. These are
Yeah.
things you ride. Toilets, motorcycles. Same thing.
God, Hatley was he. I think Steve Hatley told me more about how to do radio than any living human.
That's so
Was it
cool.
1500 KSTP back in the day.
Yeah.
Back in those days. All right, any closing words from you, Hunya? Look at this. We did an hour today.
I know. It's great.
Yes,
What the
look
Fun.
at
hell?
us.
Time flew by.
I got a couple things can I plug?
Love to hear it.
Okay. This Friday, I will be in Hudson, Wisconsin at Cracked Barrel Winery.
I love that place.
Do you?
And I do. That's a great place.
Well, come on out anytime.
Hudson, first of all.
It's pretty far for
The
you.
whole damn. No, not really. I love the whole area.
I just moved
Stillwater,
there.
Hudson. Oh,
you
God,
live in
I
Hudson
love
now?
it.
Yep, I just moved to Hudson.
Oh,
and
you
I
don't want
love-
to pay state taxes anymore? Is that it?
That's right. That's right.
You know, that's
I
right.
sneak over to Minnesota for the high-paying jobs.
Yeah.
And then I sneak
There
back
you go.
across the river. Yeah, they're getting serious about that border control on the St. Croix. I'm just saying.
Yeah, they are.
But I will
Build
be
the
there
wall.
Friday night if
Build
you
the
want to
wall.
grab some tickets. Otherwise, I'm closing out the open mic Tuesday at the House of Comedy Mall of America, the 22nd of October.
You ever run into Rick anymore?
Very,
God, I haven't
not in
seen
years.
him.
I haven't,
Me
he
either.
only comes into town a few times. He's got many clubs, but he bases out of Canada
Yeah,
because he's a Canadian guy.
Edmonton.
Yes.
still in Edmonton. That's where you.
Yeah. And then they've got
first
got
time.
one at the Mall of America, and then they've also got an Arizona location. I think there's three.
Yeah, I think
believe
that's
it.
right.
Three or four.
I think you're right.
There might be
about
two in
that.
Canada. I'm not 100%
Right.
positive.
Any other info we should know about your illustrious career?
So illustrious. Hey,
So illustrious.
so everybody write in and tell Tom and Doug and Andy to bring me back. How about that?
Well, we got to do that anyway. So what's the difference?
Well, you have to
okay.
say something that focus groups are going to hate, but everyone's going to talk about.
I think I already did with my rock and roll Buck Zumhoff line.
Yeah.
I heard that from the
You
other
mean the guy
room.
that's in prison?
Yeah.
Nice job.
20 years for what is it? 25 years?
25 years for child molestation.
Oh my God!
I
never
know.
I don't think I
Well,
ever even heard of it.
Tiffany's
name?
available for dating.
Oh boy, look at
Just,
the time.
but I just, only if you're incarcerated. I like a
All right.
one-sided relationship.
But we got some.
I
stuff-
like commitment. I like committed men.
We got some stuff coming up in the next 90 days that I'm going to probably have to see you a lot more. It's going to be painful.
Oh God.
Oh God.
You poor thing.
All right, that is going to do it. Any closing words from anyone? That's a good closing word. All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Don't sing that crap.
Don't sing that crap,
Do
Andy.
the corn nuts jingle just for the outro.
Oh, do
That
the
should
corn
be-
nuts jingle, Andy.
We
Play the
need to-
whole thing.
Yeah.
We need
Am I
that.
allowed to?
Sure. It's a
Oh, yeah.
podcast. It's not connected to anything.
Well,
It's not good.
Reality,
It's not-
the internet,
We have
nothing.
mostly
We have
reality.
guests in here every once in a while.
Nothing.
Just
did I
tell them,
find it? This might be it. Yep. Hard,
Oh my God.
hard as hell. Yep.
The CEO that signed off on that had to be 80. Oh, this sounds it's upbeat.
It's-
The kids will love it.
It's delightful.
It is. Well,
Is
it's
that
memorable. I
real?
still remember it 20 years later.
I was really impressed. You rattled off the whole thing perfectly.
I must have heard it 1,000 times.
On what?
I think it must have been on Jack FM because I listened to Jack FM for a couple years.
Love that. Dad's on KQ and he listens to Jack.
Ah,
FM.
look
Why
at the
not?
time.
I'm
You
not
gotta
a-
always be different than your dad.
I'm not awake when you're on KQ. Are you kidding me?
Thank you so
Waking
much
up
for that.
before noon?
Are you kidding?
It's not going to happen.
Never happened.
Well, now it's 7:00 in the morning, which to me was unspeakable at the point. but
That's your son.
life
Two sons.
changes.
All right, that's going to do it. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Got a picture in my pocket reminds me of this one was before. Every time I hear the singing reminds me how you talking.